Hello and welcome to another episode of the Infobotts Podcast. This is episode number 31, and I am your host, author Frederick Fishman. Today and every day we are sponsored by me. So for links to all of my books, apparel, and gear, go to my main Infobotts website at infobotts.com. That's spelled with 2 T's at the end, infobotts.com. And you can also help us out and show your support by visiting our Patreon page at patreon.com/Infobotts Podcast. Okay, let's get going. I am recording this podcast on Friday, August the 14th, and the forecast for Death Valley National Park shows a predicted temperature of 127 degrees. Not only could an egg on the pavement in Death Valley, wherever there is pavement like a highway, would fry, but you could also cook a steak at those temperatures to go with those eggs. Death Valley is a strange, stark, and almost mysterious place. It is located on the California-Nevada border just west of Las Vegas. It has an area of 3,000 square miles and sits at its lowest unofficial elevation at minus 282 feet below sea level. But for all of its harsh conditions, rugged landscapes, one of the strangest features is the racetrack playa, where rocks drift across the flat desert landscape. Never actually witnessed until recently, these rocks seemingly propelled by no power but their own. The bigger rocks are like small boulders. They skid along a hard surface of cracked and rigid hard pan, leaving a trail in their wake. The big rocks are heavy, up to 700 pounds. The rocks vary in size from ounces to hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Some of the trails from these pushed or pulled rocks are as long as 1,500 feet. The mysterious rock and boulder movements have been studied since the early 1900s, but it wasn't until 2014 when scientists using rock tracking and time-lapse photography was the mystery finally solved. In the winter of 2014, rain formed a small pond that froze overnight and thawed the next day, creating a vast sheet of ice that was reduced by midway to only a few millimeters thick. Driven by a light wind, the ice broke up and accumulated behind the stones, slowly pushing them forward. So it was a combination of rain, thin ice sheets, and wind that provided for the perfect combination and explanation for the sailing stones of Death Valley. Not occurring this time of year, of course, with daytime temperatures of 127 degrees Fahrenheit. So now you know. Thank you for listening to another episode of Infobotts Podcast, and we hope you will support our efforts by visiting our Patreon page at patreon.com/Infobotts Podcast. So join us again for another episode of the Infobotts Podcast. Thanks a lot, and bye-bye.